He pressed his ear against the door. Gong. Someone was out there, or something. Whatever it wasn't human. He fumbled for his sword, hand shaking. By the time he got to the window, whatever it was had moved off. Below, a black shape limped between the houses. Something big, something fast. Fear coiled in his gut. What did that sound mean? Was that why everyone here was so afraid? What was watching him? When dawn bled into the sky, he left Black Hollow. In the distance, the bell tower mocked him. Gong. If anyone ever noticed his absence, no one cared. As he walked, he heard whispers, saw faces staring from behind closed doors. Some places are better left alone, he thought. Some truths best left buried. But that night he couldn't sleep, so he started digging through the inn's cellar. He found cobwebs, broken bottles, and in a dusty corner, a loose floorboard. Underneath, a small wooden box. Inside, wrapped in faded linen, a silver locket. It was cold to the touch. Engraved on it, a raven and a crescent moon. On the back, a name he couldn't read. He slipped it around his neck. Immediately, the scratching started again, louder now, more frantic. He ran for the hills. Now, that night, as he lay shivering beneath a tree, he heard the bell again. Gone. It wasn't a sound that could be ignored. Desperation lent him speed. He didn't stop until he reached the forest's edge. There, carved into a tree, the answer, his name. Whoever or whatever had sent him that message wanted him to know two things. One, it was here all along. Two, it wasn't done with him yet. The forest welcomed him like an old friend. Here, the trees were ancient, silent, their leaves thick enough to hide him forever. Days turned into weeks. He hunted, fished, slept. For the first time in months, he felt truly free. Then, one morning, he woke up hungry. Too hungry to wait for fish to bite or rabbits to wander into his sights. He needed meat. Remembering the butcher's warning, he hesitated. Black Hollow should pit. He pushed on, deeper into the earth, until the light from above became a pinprick. Then another sound joined the dripping water, a whisper. At first he thought it was the wind, but it was coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. He raised his lantern higher, revealing a circle of weathered faces carved into the wall. They stared back at him with empty sockets where their eyes should be, silent screams frozen on their lips. Behind them, more whispers, growing louder. But what really caught his eye was the single set of tracks in the mud below, wide and flat, like a handprint. Then he spotted something else, a small silver bell nestled between the roots of a nearby tree. It was identical to the one he'd seen in the dream, except now it was dull and lifeless, as if all the sound in the world had seeped out of it, leaving behind only an echo of its former self. He picked it up, and suddenly the whispers intensified, swirling around him like a vortex, and from the center of it, a voice, his voice, cold and hollow, whispering his deepest fears. Don't move. Don't make a sound. Don't try to run. You can't escape. Not here. Not anywhere. He dropped the bell and backed away, scrambling for the stairs. But the voice kept coming, slithering through the cracks in the stone, seeping into his skin. He climbed faster, desperate to break free, but then he heard something else. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, right behind him. He risked a glance over his shoulder. Two yellow eyes glinted in the darkness. A long snout, followed by the rest of the creature. It emerged from the shadows, dripping with mud and something else. Something darker. Its skin was stretched over sharp angles, like parchment over bone. Fangs dripped from its mouth, catching the lantern light as it opened and closed its jaws soundlessly. A guttural snarl rumbled in its chest, a low growl that scraped against his raw nerves. Hunger, pure, unadulterated hunger. He screamed and scrambled away, tripping on the uneven steps. He landed hard, scraping his palm. Blood welled up, and he looked down at his hand in disbelief. It wasn't his blood, it was the mud. The creature had brushed against him, and somehow the dirt stuck to his skin, embedding itself under his fingernails. Imprinted on his palm was the exact replica of the mark left in the mud below. The creature pressed its muzzle against the opening, panting heavily, its eyes boring into his, daring him to make a move, to fight back, to do anything. Finally, it spoke. Its voice was a symphony of malice and mirth. Well, so you found your way to my little nest. How nice. Come to join me. Join the choir. It gestured with its snout toward the circle of faces. We could use another singer, another voice to join our song. What do you want? He croaked, unable to tear his eyes away from those vacant sockets. Oh, I want so much. But most of all, I want to play a little game. A game we used to play. Do you remember? Ring around the rosy pocketful of posies. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down. How fun it was. All those little children falling to their deaths, their lifeless bodies piling up at my feet. Such a beautiful, haunting melody. And you get to be the conductor. The bell clanged again, once, twice, thrice. Gong, gong, gong. And the creature began to sway, a macabre dance of anticipation and delight. It twirled and waltzed, its eyes gleaming with unholy joy. Play with me, it hissed, its breath hot on his face. Play with me forever. He wanted to scream, to claw, to bite, but something held him back. Something in his chest tightening like a vice, squeezing out his fear and doubt, replacing it with a cold determination. He lunged for the creature, for its eyes, for its throat, anything. But as his fingers brushed against its snout, it vanished. Poof, gone. Just like the priest, just like Evelyn. He was left breathless, staring at the spot where it had stood. Now nothing but silence surrounded him, heavy and suffocating. The bell lay on the floor a few paces away, glinting innocently in the lantern light. It called to him, beckoning him closer. He wanted to smash it, to break it, to drain it of the evil it contained. But something inside him, something ancient and hungry, urged him forward. He felt its presence beside him, whispering promises of power, of immortality. The bell sang to him, weaving its magic tendrils around his mind, wrapping him in a cocoon of soundless song. It showed him visions of the past, of all those who had fallen prey to its allure. Their faces contorted in silent screams, their voices trapped within its metallic heart. And in that moment, he understood. The bell wasn't just a relic of darkness. It was a prison, a tomb. It held the souls of its victims, each toll a mournful dirge, echoing their lost voices. And now it was offering him a choice. Join them in their eternal silence, or become the next voice in their tragic symphony. Hey there, welcome back to my channel. And at the very bottom, behind a door sealed with dried wax and old symbols he didn't understand, he found the priest's quarters, or what was left of them. The room was empty, except for a single wooden desk, and on it a leather-bound journal tied shut with frayed black thread. He opened it. Inside were the final writings of Father Maynard, the priest who vanished. Desperate handwriting, incoherent note, drawings of a creature with too many mouths, a shadow that grew bigger the more people ignored it, then a full entry. We thought it would protect us. We were wrong. It only kept quiet because we fed it. The girl, Evelyn, she wasn't lost. She was given. The town made a deal. One life every 7 years, silence in return. But now the time has come again, and the people are too afraid to speak it aloud. They've turned on each other, watching, waiting for someone else to be the offering. If you're reading this, it's already chosen you. The traveler dropped the journal, backed away, and then a whisper. Not a voice, not a word, a sound, purse-scraping breath in the corner of the room. He turned the lantern. Nothing. He turned back. The journal was gone. He ran, up the stairs, into the night air, gasping. But when he reached the inn, the door was bolted shut. Inside, the innkeeper stood still, her face pale, her hands clasped tightly. She mouthed the words, "You weren't supposed to look." Suddenly, it all made sense. The townsfolk had stopped him from asking questions, not to protect him, but to protect themselves. They knew. They'd always known. They had allowed the legend to live, allowed the creature to sleep in the silence of secrets. And now that he had uncovered the truth, now that he had spoken it had found him. The bell wasn't some cursed object. It was a signal, a hunger cry. The traveler pounded on the door, desperate, but it was no use. The townsfolk had disappeared, all except for the innkeeper, who sank to her knees and whispered, "It's too late. It always is." From the corner, something shifted, a scratching sound, slow and deliberate, like claws on wood. He backed away, his hand shaking as he brought the lantern closer. The scratching grew frantic. Then a crack appeared in the wood, just a hairline fracture. But as the innkeeper watched, it spread. The boards splintered and buckled. A darkness coalesced in the doorway. Tendrils of black smoke snaked out, tasting the air. And then it stepped through. The creature was real. All those stories, all those whispers, they hadn't been lies. The creature regarded the traveler, regarding them both, its eyes burning like embers. Then it spoke, its voice a chorus of whispers. "You have awakened me. Now I must feed." The innkeeper screamed. The traveler stumbled back, knocking over the lantern. Darkness. A single scream in the night, then silence. In the morning, the villagers found the innkeeper kneeling before the creature, her eyes wide and vacant, her throat torn open. Beside her, the traveler lay dead, his throat torn open. Beside them, an open journal, its pages scattered. Around it, crude drawings of a many-mouthed creature and the neat script of a single sentence. The silence keeps it quiet. Speak its name, and it will find you. For the creature wasn't a thing of myth or legend. It was real, and now it was hungry. And the villagers knew as the creature drifted through their town, taking what it wanted, that they were next. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please remember to subscribe so you never miss an upload. Until next time, goodbye. He doesn't want to tell them. Why? Because he isn't sure they want to hear it. But there is no choice. He has to. The ground beneath their feet is shifting. The old magic is stirring. He can feel it in his bones. This story was inspired by subscriber suggestions. Let me set the scene. Our traveler isn't just hearing it. He is marked by it. The creature, whatever it is, only needs one thing: to wake. Awareness. He tried to warn them. He went to the market, shouted about the priest's journal, about Evelyn, about the truth buried under their silence. But no one responded. They just stood there, like statues. As if the moment he'd spoken the truth, they became part of the price. And then the bell rang again. But not from the church, from the sky. From inside his own mind. It vibrated through his teeth, through his bones, like something ancient was crawling up out of the earth and into him. He staggered back, looked to the forest. The edge of it was bending, moving. Something was coming through, tall, wider than a house, covered in what looked like veils of ash and dripping cloth. Its face shifted, like smoke behind glass. 1 second it was Evelyn's, the next the priest's, then the traveler's own. It wasn't a monster. It was every secret the town had buried, every lie told to keep the peace, every sacrifice made in silence. And now it had a voice. His. He ran. The traveler bolted from the town square, heart pounding like war drums in his chest. Behind him, the creature moved, not walking, but gliding. Its body dragged across the earth like smoke clinging to stone. Each step it took left behind a silence so deep it swallowed every sound. No wind, no birds, not even his footsteps, nothing, just the toll of that bell, ringing now without rhythm, without pause. Gong, gong, gong. Each toll cut deeper than the last. He could feel it in his spine, in his skull, like his bones were being hollowed out. The forest was his only hope. He plunged into the trees, branches slicing at his skin, roots grabbing at his ankles. Behind him, he could hear whispers, not words, but memories. His own memories, distorted, repeated, as if the creature were digging through his soul to see what he feared most. You weren't supposed to look. It's already chosen you. You heard it 3 times. 3 tolls, 3 days, 1 life. He tripped, fell into a hole now, a tunnel, stone walls, carved symbols, a staircase spiraling down. the catacombs. He lit a match. Saw bones, dozens of them. Old sacrifices, stacked like offerings. Some still had scraps of clothing, dresses, robes, a priest's collar. At the far end, a stone altar, and above it, a mirror, but not a reflection. No one wants to hear the truth, especially when it means facing the darkness inside themselves. What do you do when the monsters under your bed come to life? How do you stop a bell that tolls for your doom? Do you run? Do you hide? Or do you face your fears head on? That's all for now. See you soon. Hello, friends. This is your host, and we have another great story for you today. A window. The creature stood behind it, on the other side of the glass. Except now, it wasn't outside anymore. It was in him. The mirror didn't show his face. It showed its eyes where his should be, its voice using his throat. The bell now rang from his own chest, every beat of his heart sounding like metal against bone. He screamed, and the bell stopped. So did everything else. The forest froze. The air held its breath. The silence was absolute. Then the mirror cracked, and the creature stepped through. No one ever saw the traveler again. Not in Black Hollow. Not in the towns nearby. Not on the roads that twisted through the forest. It was as if he vanished like smoke in fog. But something changed. Since that night, the bell doesn't just toll in Black Hollow. It tolls everywhere. At first, only once, then twice. By the third toll, people begin to feel it. That sinking sense that someone's watching from behind the walls. That certain sounds seem to disappear too quickly. That mirrors no longer reflect what they should. And always, someone goes missing. It's never the same person. Never the same way. But it always begins the same. Silence, secrets, and a sound no one wants to admit they heard. The creature didn't die. It didn't fade. It moved on. The journal, the altar, the sacrifice, they weren't to stop the creature. They were to contain it, to keep it tethered to the town that made the deal. But when the traveler learned the truth, he broke the last chain. Now it walks from town to town, from silence to silence, from secret to secret. And every time the bell tolls, it's already too late. So if you ever hear it 3 times, deep and low, don't speak. Don't ask questions. Don't look behind you, because if you do, it knows you heard it, and it's already coming. So friends, there's an author who writes under a pseudonym. Let me read you a passage from a book that was published recently. It's about a writer who decided to leave his hometown, to forget about his past. And one day he hears a bell toll, and that bell becomes an obsession. First it tolls once, then twice, and on the 3rd time, well, I'll quote, the world tilts on its axis. Reality itself seems to stretch and warp until all the certainties of life give way to a terrifying uncertainty. Your blood turns to water and hope to despair. It's not just a sound, it's a sentence, a verdict. 3 tolls and you are doomed. And this fragment from the book keeps ringing in my head. Or maybe it's the bell. Maybe the bell has found me. After all, I am a storyteller. We all are, aren't we? We tell stories to make sense of the chaos around us, to impose some sort of order on the randomness of life. Stories are our way of survival, our maps, our compasses. That's why when the bell tolls, it terrifies us so much, because it reminds us that there are things in this world that defy reason, things that happen just because they have to, things that no amount of stories can explain away. What do you do when the bell tolls? When the old ways no longer work and the new ones haven't been written yet? When the silence is broken by a sound that shouldn't be there? A sound that means everything has changed. I want to hear your stories. Share them in the comments below. And if you're still with me, I have a question. Did the traveler break the last chain? Or was he merely a pawn in a much bigger game? You decide. Until next time, friends, write your own story.